feel like if there was more youth with more power in the country, a lot of things would be way better, because like they would have been able to stop the shootings if they would talk to youth. But like in the media, all you see is adults. They don't want to speak to youth because they feel like we lack knowledge, we're not as important. And like the thing is, without us, a lot of things will go bad, and they don't understand.
It might be a fair thing too, because if corporate America found out that 14 and 15-year-olds could do the same job that the 40 and 50-year-olds are doing, there's a lot of people that can't pay their mortgage.
Right.
Real talk.
I think Youth in Action definitely does have a huge impact on the city, and just not even with Youth in Action members. Of course, there's been hundreds of kids that have gone through this building that have been like completely transformed into stronger people and brought out like all their fullest potential just by being members of Youth in Action. But at the same time, there's just people out there in the community, like Buki said, who aren't necessarily members. For instance, Year Team, we reach about 300 youth a year when we teach our curriculum, and those people might not, change their lives completely. It's not going to turn their lives 100% upside down, but at the same time, they leave learning something a little different. They leave thinking that, all right, if I'm going to have sex next time, I definitely should get a condom, and if I need one, I can come here and get them for free. Do what they need to do. When Titan was here, it affected a lot of the younger youth, changing the way they thought about how they approach other people, being more nonviolent, being more assertive about the way they deal with people around them. And I don't know if it's a coincidence, but when Titan was around, there were lower shooting rates, and then when Titan stopped, it kind of went back up again. So I don't know whether that's a coincidence or not, but you can clearly see a huge influence that Youth in Action has on the city with the way urban youth are, behaving. Urban youth aren't the typical urban youth anymore. We're youth who are smart, we're youth who are educated, we're youth who are powerful, and that's not characteristics that you immediately think of when you think of urban youth, but that's who we are in Providence because of Youth in Action.
Some of the reasons why, the gun violence continues to plague our community is because the stories are never thorough. So you just got, you don't even have a name, you know what I'm saying? A 15-year-old was shot and killed on the corner of such and such and such and such street. We believe it was gang related. More at 11. But there's never more at 11. At 11, it's the same exact thing. So you never get a story behind it. So you never get a name, you never get a face, you never find out how many little brothers or older brothers and sisters that they had in their side of the story. You never get to hear any opinion from their mother. And I think if those things were shared with the community, those are the things that'll stop it from happening, because now it's like real, like, wow, man, that kid looks just like me. You know what I'm saying? Or that kid looks just like my boy. And then you see your friends doing that, like, yo, you didn't hear that story about this kid? I think those are the things that change when the stories are thorough. And I think that, that you guys and we all do a really good job of just being thorough.
I learned how to become a good leader, how to facilitate, how to be able to speak out in public, because I was a very shy person in 8th grade. Then when I came here, it showed that I could be myself without people judging me, and really this place has opened my eyes up and opened so many doors to show me what I can do, what I can accomplish.
The thing I appreciate most about Youth in Action is that they teach you things that the adults who control school don't think it's important. They don't tell you about life after high school or what you're gonna have to endure or go through. They don't tell you about things that are happening outside your own community because they don't think they're important enough. But people here, they let you know, you can do this, you can do that, you can go here, you can go and do this. And that's one of the main things I've learned, that you can do things even though people older than you say you can't. And another thing I've learned is probably that everyone has a potential to do anything, and anyone can be a leader.
The issues that come up in the community, they stick out and they affect, you can immediately see the effects on people, on your friends, or on yourself personally, and it just clicks in your mind that, something needs to be done about it, we've had enough.
I think becoming a leader, and just from my experience, like getting involved in Youth in Action, I noticed that, you know, I was like once kind of part of the crowd, and then, you know, like something changed in me, like my language, you know, the way I spoke changed, the things that I was interested in changed, and so like just there was a separation kind of that occurred, you know, between me and a lot of my peers, and for me that was a little painful, because when I thought about like who I was and why I was getting into this work, I always thought it was about those peers that I was so connected to.
I think the hardest thing of being a leader is stepping out the crowd when you don't want to, especially around this community when everybody like sees you because of your image, the way you look. Everybody sees you as a gangster, saying no, I'm not that, and actually doing something else. And that's what I think of like every time I come here. Like it takes me away from them. But then you see us who are here making a difference in the community, showing that we have power.
I think of that every time I come here. It makes me want to be a better person out there. So I can come here with my head high and say, yeah, I did something good. I didn't expect anything out of it, because that's the kind of people that are here.
At Youth in Action, it's where you realize that you have so much more power than we're given credit for. And that's something that it's that cognizance that you have when you come here, that your voice actually does matter, because outside you're just a kid who you live in your parents' house and your parents pay the rent or your parents pay the mortgage, your parents buy the food, your parents do this for you. So it's like you aren't even a person yet. You're somebody else's person, you're somebody else's property, and you know you don't have your own identity yet. But when you come to organizations like Youth in Action, that's kind of when you realize that you actually have a mind of your own and you have a wisdom that people don't expect someone your age to have. And it's here that you can actually channel that wisdom and make something tangible out of it, as opposed to just sitting in your room complaining about life and saying, you know, I shouldn't be treated this way. You can come here and actually do something about it.
I think sometimes we can be very limited in our surroundings. You know, we just see a lot of negative things going on, and we don't think big. You know, we think within the boundaries that are set for us. And I think Youth in Action really taught me that you can think big. It's all right to think big, and your big thoughts can be achieved. And that was very powerful. That's a lasting impression that has had an impact on my life, even now, you know, as an adult.
The way we do transitions at Youth in Action is the whole in-training thing. That was something, that's kind of cool when I first came to Youth in Action, that you'll have, you know, co-coordinator of a team who has someone that they're training for pretty much, you know, at least a couple months, if not the whole year. And the same with the board chairs, you know, there's always someone who's gonna be next that you're nurturing and that you're bringing up along. And it's kind of, you know, it's kind of like a mentorship program that we have informally at Youth in Action. I think that's where a lot of the power lies in what we do, because a lot of people say, oh, you got youth running stuff? Well, don't they graduate? You know, your place must be falling apart. No, it's not, because we have this way that we hand down what we have, and it's a part of our culture, and you know, like it's never gonna die because of that tradition that we have. So I love that.
Youth in Action kind of just helps you find the inner you in a way with the power that they give you, and just build up character and responsibility. Because like, even though we spend like 10 hours here, I feel like I live here sometimes, we have to still be able to be role models and like keep our grades up and do things like that. Youth in Action is kind of like a safety guard for a lot of people, because when you come here, you just feel like you're safe and protected. And funny enough, it's in the middle of the most dangerous street in the world. You know when you watch cartoons and there's like danger everywhere, but then there's like the Bat Cave where you can just like nobody can get you and you're just safe. Youth in Action is just that kind of place, and people feel it around them even if they don't attend here.
One of the great things about Youth in Action is that once you graduate, it's not over. Like, you're able to take all of the skills and everything you've learned here and everything that you've become and use it. It never stops. You're able to learn, mold yourself, grow, build, and then when you leave, you just keep going and going, and you're just continuing to grow from everything you've learned.